And welcome back to the show, everybody. My name is Shane, and I'm here with Mark,
Hey.
who's in slow motion, and we are the Fantasy Football Pro. It is the off
It's been a
season
long
now,
season,
so
man. It's been a long season.
we finally get to do whatever we want, and this is what we're going to be doing.
We just went from a 45 to a 78.
So we just want to talk about like our own personal teams MVPs.
Yeah, we're just kind of reevaluating the year for ourselves, and I'm sure a lot of these players are going to, will be on your teams also. It's not like we're going to surprise anybody with people that were on our teams. We've talked about them before. It's just kind of going through and saying, well, we did really good with this pick. This one, not so much.
Yeah.
So, hey, you have any New Year's resolutions this year, Shane?
Yeah, but nothing I want to talk about on air.
Okay.
How about you, Mark? What do you got?
New Year's resolution: be better at hiding my gambling from my wife.
You need a separate checking account for that.
The problem is with my job now, it's not a check form, right? So any bonuses I have received or will be receiving go directly into our checking account. So it's not like I can hide any bonus money.
Yeah, you can. It's called direct deposit, and they could split that.
Oh, damn, look at you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I should, but I won't.
You shouldn't.
I shouldn't. No, I don't believe in New Year's resolutions. It's one of those things that if you're going to be bettering yourself, you should just be bettering it, not because it's a new freaking year.
Yeah, because you're most likely just going to drop out of it.
Yeah.
If it's something that you've wanted to do for a while, and now you're like, you know what, now's good timing. I'm just going to do it. That's what I'm doing. I'm not like, oh, it's New Year's resolution. I need to find something, and this is what I'm going to be doing. It's like, no, you need to better yourself. Now's no better time.
Yeah. I mean, hell, I would have broken one of my resolutions already. I had a donut yesterday. There you go.
I had 4 yesterday. Delicious. For $5, you get 12 donuts.
Where at?
Beautiful. Jewel.
Oh, those, I know which ones you had too then. The glazed ones?
They're all glazed, yeah, but it's a variety pack. You got Boston cream. There's like a cinnamon one in there. There's the white chocolate, dark chocolate. My favorite being Boston cream.
I've never been a huge Boston cream fan, but Krispy Kreme has got those donuts, the same type of donuts, the chocolate donuts, but the filling instead of Boston cream is a whipped cream. Dude, that I'm all about.
I'll be honest, I am not that big of a fan of Krispy Kreme.
I remember when they first opened, I'd be driving by and you see that sign knowing that there's fresh donuts coming out. Pull right in.
These are not our sponsors, Jewel Osco and Krispy Kreme.
Nope, those are just little guilty pleasures.
It's just where we like our donuts from.
And I actually started off as a baker before.
Did you really?
Getting in the food business. I was a baker. I worked at 3 different bakeries and I owned my own bakery.
Oh, wow.
Until I went bankrupt.
Well, you're not supposed to be eating your own supply.
Well, but that was the thing. So every night I would eat a yeast donut to make sure that my consistency was right. I'd eat one cake donut to make sure the consistency was right. And I would eat one French cruller to make sure, because that's a whole different batter, to make sure that was right. So every single day I had 3 donuts in the middle of the night while I was working. And then while I worked at the bakery in Calumet City, it's a little Polish bakery, neighborhood bakery. You make all the bread for the neighborhood. I'd always make myself a little itty bitty loaf of rye bread, pull that out of the oven, slab some butter on that son bitch. That's when they started calling me the Pillsbury Doughboy. All right, Shane, let's talk about our teams. there's a couple. I was in 5 leagues. I'm not going to talk about every team, but there's the two. I end up doing pretty well for this year. I had 5 teams. 4 of them made the playoffs. 3 of them made the semifinals. And then in the finals, I won 1 championship, finished second in the other one, and took third and took fourth in the other league. So out of the 3 semifinals, I finished first, second, and fourth.
That's awesome. So let's take a look at your drafts for these teams and see, because that's we say that's like what half of your team is the draft.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, it's so difficult to like trade for any stars. So if you didn't draft them, they have to be in free agency.
Well, and so I have 2 different type of things going on here. I have one team that I just drafted really well, and I didn't get hit with the injury bug.
That's very fortunate.
And this team was a team I was dominating all year. I had a 300 when the end of the season happened. I was 300 points more than any other team closest to me.
That's a nice chunk.
And I finished second. I lost in the championship because I started Gesicki over Fant. If I would have started Fant, I would have won the championship. Simple as that.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I done screwed up.
Yeah.
Yep. So anyway, this one, it is a keeper league, so we were able to keep 2 players. So my keepers, I kept in the 9th round, Josh Allen. What a freaking steal. But that's who I drafted the year before in the 9th round, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I was able to keep him in the 9th round. Get the number 1 quarterback for the year in the 9th round. Oh, dude, that sets you up pretty good right there.
Oh, yeah.
And then listen to this. In the 7th round, I kept a Mr. Cooper Kupp.
And that's your league winner right there.
There you go. You got the number 1 quarterback, the number 1 wide receiver.
In the middle rounds, yeah.
Yeah. So I was able to, at the beginning, and again, because it is a keeper league, a lot of the top running backs were kept as keepers, right?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
But in the first round, then, my first pick was Najee Harris.
Solid.
All he did was, for the year so far, he is a number 3 rated fantasy running back right now. Second round, I took a chance on Clyde Edwards-Helaire. That was my mistake because I had my quarterback and a receiver. I was trying to go running back.
Mm-hmm.
He just never materialized this year, really. It just never happened for him, and I'm not going to make that mistake the 3rd year. I won't.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it's going to happen. Like,
no,
they're just going to be split work until they actually find whoever their workhorse guy is going to be.
Yeah, I just hurt myself. So in the 3rd round, I took Deontay Johnson. Very solid.
Yeah, top 10.
Top 10. He finished number 8 so far. And
this is a PPR league, right?
This is a PPR league, yes.
Okay.
So very happy with that. So I screwed up my 2nd round pick. Did well in my 1st round, 3rd round. 4th round, I came around to another running back. So I had 3 running backs in the first 4 rounds selected, and Damien Harris. He was solid. When he was playing, he was solid.
He was more solid than I thought it was going to be. I thought Stevenson, I believe his name is Ramondre Stevenson, was going to steal it. And I kept on telling you need to get rid of Harris, get Stevenson. He's going to take over the role, and he just never did.
No.
They just complement each other very well. And with the rookie quarterback, they just decided that it was much better just to have 2 talented running backs on the team.
Yeah. And then, so, I mean, it worked out for me. I mean, it was a solid pick. Nothing flashy. It worked out for me. 5th round, I came around and got another wide receiver with Brandon Nyuk. Disappointment for half the season. Then he did pretty well the last half of the season.
Yeah, we were both high on Ayuk.
Yeah.
And I'd say we were both kind of low on Deebo Samuel.
Yeah, I mean, it's we definitely misjudged that one. That was our bad.
I surprisingly still drafted him just because of where I found him. But we'll get to my team later.
Okay. Came around the very next round in the sixth round, and picked up another running back. So in my first 6 rounds, I picked 4 running backs, and I took Javonte Williams.
I love him.
And now listen, did it work out this year? He was okay. He had some, decent weeks. This pick was for next year because being a keeper league. Listen, I did not expect Cooper Kupp off like he did. So me looking at it now of keeping Cooper Kupp one more year in the 7th round or Javonte Williams in the 6th round, that's going to be my decision, right? That's where I'm going to be have to have a decision to make because can I see Cooper Kupp doing this again? No.
I mean,
I don't know. No.
Looking at it right now, I doubt it. Right?
I don't know. It's
because it's not like he has this huge talent over everybody else like Devontae Adams does compared to the rest of the wide receivers in Green Bay.
Right.
Because you got Robert Woods, you got Van Jefferson, you might have Odell Beckham Jr. for another season.
Yeah, there's other talent there.
Mm-hmm.
Where in Green Bay, there's no other talent.
Yeah, it's just Stafford has a tunnel vision.
Yeah. So I don't know. That's anyway. That's a good question. That's a good question to have. So, but that's why I selected Javonte Williams. I didn't think he was going to do anything until the second half of the season. I was really looking at it as my possible keeper for next year for a running back.
Mm-hmm.
Came around again. The 7th round was a keeper with Cooper Kupp. And then in the 8th round, this one might be, well, Cooper Kupp is definitely a steal of the draft in the 7th round.
Yeah.
But this is getting close to that. Deebo Samuel. I mean,
so you had Cooper Kupp in the 7th round and then Deebo Samuel in the 8th round.
Yeah. Dude.
2 top 5 wide receivers in the middle rounds.
Number 1 and number 3. Number 1 and number 3.
Damn.
Yeah.
And that's your league winners right there.
Yeah. And then Josh Allen, we got a keeper in the 9th round. And then came the also-rans. The only good also-ran I had in this was in the 14th round. I selected Michael Pittman Jr. And he was definitely better than a 14th round pick.
Yeah, I would say so.
So, but yeah, I mean, but you listen to that team, right? I mean, I'll just real quick. Elijah Moore, Mike Gesicki, Alexander Madison, Henry Ruggs, well, that was a bust. Tariq Cohen, well, that was a bust. Buffalo's defense. Really, I didn't have to do much with this team. It wasn't like this team here. They played and stayed pretty healthy.
Yeah, I mean, you had Josh Allen, Cooper Kupp, and Deebo Samuel pretty much doing all the work every week. And then you just have producers. You don't have guys that are like spot starts or anything, or, they go off one week and then they're dead the next week.
Okay, real quick. 18 rounds this draft was, right? I got to tell you this one. 18 rounds. Out of those 18 rounds, 16 of my draft picks was on my final roster.
How many?
16.
Damn.
I mean, it was just like, it was like I plugged in, whoever I plugged in scored. I didn't have to do anything.
Wow.
And then, but I do got to tell you this. I just got to tell you this. This is what I ran into in the championship game. And again, I would have won if I would have started Fant over Gesicki. Okay. I ran into Joe Burrow, the hottest quarterback in the league.
Yeah.
Amon-Ra St. Brown, one of the hottest receivers in the league.
He was the number 1 receiver in the playoffs.
Yeah, there you go. Eckler. A.J. Dillon, who got 2 touchdowns in that Green Bay game Sunday. Never should have had 2 touchdowns, but for some reason, they had that game in hand, and they just said, okay, we're just going to play A.J. Dillon now.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck me. And DK Metcalf I was going against.
Who hasn't really produced all year into the last game.
Yeah.
Got, 3 touchdowns?
Yeah. So that's what I went up against, and the difference in me winning or losing was just Fant or Gesicki. Anyway, that's one of my teams.
Man, I've never had a team like that, to be honest.
Yeah, but that just shows you doing your homework. If you have to draft right?
Oh yeah,
And you have to get pretty damn lucky to have a
luck,
team have
luck does
16
matter.
players out of 18 on your final roster.
Hmm. You said no injuries and no
No,
real apparent busts.
no, I mean, I had a few injuries where they were out a couple weeks here or there, but I never had to go out and pick anybody up on the waiver wire because I had the backup. Like I had Madison when Cook went down, right? So it just happened at the same time that Clyde Edwards-Helaire went down.
Oh, it's like perfect timing.
Yeah, I mean, it was. So I was like, okay, I'll just play him then. I never really had to go out there and there's all this fab money still left available on that team that
I bet. I mean, how many moves did you make?
not many. Seriously. The only moves I made was when Buffalo was on bye week, you picking up another defense. I mean, really, not much.
So that team's a bad example of
Yeah.
learning from your mistakes. So do you have another team that we can work off of? Because that one is not going to help the show, really. It's just
Sorry.
more of
Like, holy
you
shit.
gloating. You're like, hey, look what I got.
Okay. All right.
You want to be better? Do like me.
All right. Then the other team that I actually won the league with, I was 9-5 for the season. And then I went on and won the championship. This one, a little bit, I mean, yeah. I mean, there's mistakes here. Again, this was a keeper league.
Mm-hmm. Full PPR?
PPR. I kept Javonte Adams in the second round.
Okay.
And I kept Darren Waller in the sixth round.
Okay.
Ended up, maybe I should have done something differently. Because Waller, I mean, he started off hot as hell.
I mean, it's not like you were going to know that Waller's just going to get hurt and like miss half the season.
Yeah. I mean, it is what it is. First round pick, I took Joe Mixon. I'll take that. He ended up number 4 running back for the season for fantasy. Number 3, here we go again in the third round. Again, that strategy that I used was blow it up on running backs and hope that some of them stay healthy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Third round, I took Damien Harris again. Fourth round, Chase Edmonds. And again, he got hurt half the year.
Yeah.
And looking back at it now, I did not, and this is where you and I both missed the boat on. No idea Connor was going to do as well as he did. We thought he was just he might see some work or this, that. Neither one of us projected him very high.
Well, he only did well because of Edmonds got hurt. So we're not gonna make projections off of players getting hurt.
Yeah, but even still, I mean, like next year, if they're both on that team, who are you going to select between those two?
If I have to,
If you had to, I mean, I'm not going to, but if you had to, which one would you take?
probably be the one that is less injury prone, which is really ironic because Edmonds got hurt.
Yeah.
Who's not known for getting hurt, and Connor stayed reasonably healthy all season, and he's known for getting hurt.
Yeah.
So I'd probably still stick with Edmonds.
I wouldn't do it in the fourth round like I did, though.
Oh no. No. They're just splitting work. So
no. Dak Prescott, I took in the fifth round. He did great for me for the first part of the season, and then after that, not so much. Darren Waller in the sixth round. Then I took Mr. Headcase himself in the seventh round.
Antonio Brown?
Yes, sir.
You know what's really funny about that is
you talked me into him.
There's not anything funny about that because he screwed over a lot of people. This is the finals for most people in the week 17, and for him just to like leave halfway through the game is such BS.
Yeah.
And to say that it was an ankle injury and he's like jumping around doing jumping jacks.
Yeah.
Like, your ankle's fine, bro.
Yeah.
But the funny thing is that Terrell Owens sees this as an opportunity to get back into the NFL. And he's like, hey, you guys seem to be pretty needy because you just lost, 2 of your best wide receivers. I'm available. Terrell Owens is 48 years old.
He's that old?
Yeah.
No shit. Really? 48 years old.
So
Damn.
he's throwing his name in there. He's like, hey, if you guys need somebody to catch some red zone targets, I'll be available.
Can I bring my walker?
Yeah, for real. No, it's like he might look like he's in that same shape, but give him like 3 routes and he's gonna be gassed. He's like, I ran those 3 routes. He didn't throw me the ball. It's like, yeah, you weren't open.
Oh my goodness.
You're not as fast as you were 15 years ago.
Oh, man. All right. So yeah, so I took him and Antonio Brown in the 7th round. And the 8th round, I took again Deebo Samuel. There's a pattern there. I liked him. He was one of my targets, and he worked out.
Was it that I was high on Nyuk and you're high in Samuel?
Yeah.
That's what it was. And I was against Debo the entire preseason. Yeah. Okay.
And then after that, after round 8, there's really nothing there. Michael Gallup, Mike Williams he had a good few weeks of the season, but then Phillip Lindsay, Justin Fields, Elijah Moore, Tariq Cohen. So this team is the one that I had to really work on all year to put pieces in place.
Mm-hmm.
What I ended up with was Rodgers as my quarterback. Then, of course, Samuel and Adams as my wide receivers. Mixon as my running back. But then I had Rashard Penny, Sony Michel, Elijah Mitchell and as my running backs. Ended up with Hunter Henry as my tight end. And then my other wide receivers were Van Jefferson and Michael Williams. So you can see what I added on. I added on Rodgers. I added on Sony Michel, Hunter Henry, Jefferson, Penny, Mitchell. That's what I added on to this team.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what won me the championship, was adding on those right players at the right time. Getting Penny before he became real popular, before everybody wanted him. Getting Jefferson at the right time. Getting Sony Michel at the right time.
And getting Rodgers.
And getting Rodgers.
What do you mean getting?
I traded for him.
Ah, there we go. Like no one just gets Rodgers and gets Jefferson.
No.
Some of the top players in the game.
So I had Henderson. He needed a running back really bad. So I said, well, give me Rodgers for him. And Rodgers was his second quarterback at the time, because that was before Rodgers really started coming on at the end of the second half, is when he really came on.
Yeah.
And then Henderson got hurt that very next game.
It's something Rodgers seems to do every year.
Come on at the end.
Yeah, their team always looks like it's like the Bears, right? The Bears look stronger in the beginning of the season, and the Packers look weaker in the beginning of the season, and we kind of look like we're evenly matched. And then throughout the season, like he just starts tearing it up, and it's really, really frustrating being a Bears fan sometimes.
Yeah, trust me.
Fuck that guy.
Fuck him.
Anyway.
So that just shows you the difference of two different things. You have one team where we always say the draft is only 50% of it, and it proved to be right. That draft was only 50% of my team.
Mm-hmm.
The rest was all pickups at the right time and one really good trade. Whereas the other team was just damn lucky and just a really good draft.
All right, so I want to talk about my team in our main league, which is a full point PPR. It is a keeper league, so I kept Jonathan Taylor in the 3rd round, and I was going to keep J.K. Dobbins in the 7th round.
Right, I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, and then he goes off and gets hurt, so I had to change it up to Allen Robinson in the 4th.
Ouch.
Yeah. So the 1st round I drafted Christian McCaffrey, complete bust, right? And he had 3 or 4 games that he played, which were pretty good, but then and then Terry McLaurin in the 2nd round, and that was, because Ryan Fitzmagic was supposed to be throwing him the ball.
Yeah.
And then, once he's out, it's just you're going to a rookie quarterback, and that totally destroyed the win out of his
Well,
sails.
it's so funny. You and I were both high on McLaurin.
Hmm.
I even named my one league I was in driving a McLaren,
Oh, nice.
but we had him listed as the number 10 wide receiver
Hmm.
preseason. We were kind of off on that. He finished up 25.
Well,
That's a
like I said, I'm
that
not.
was our mistake.
No. We're not changing. We can't.
I know it was an injury to the quarterback. Yeah,
Yeah.
hindsight.
It's like you rate Debo a certain way, and then George Kittle gets hurt for the entire year, and of course Debo is now better. Doesn't mean your ranking was
Yeah, I know. You're supposed to trust the process.
wrong. So yeah, then Jonathan Taylor in the third, and then Allen Robinson in the fourth, and then I picked up my future potential keeper, Javonte Williams in the fifth round. And if you're in a keeper league, like you like the best thing in the keeper league is to be getting awesome value at running back, wide receiver, tight end, quarterback. I like to focus on running back just because it's such a difficult and important position to fill. So I tend to overspend on running back, like a rookie running back, for the potential of keeping them next year. So my hope is to keep Jonathan Taylor in the third and Javonte Williams in the fifth, totally setting me up so I can just get wide receivers and tight ends earlier in the draft. So I kind of knew Javonte Williams wasn't going to be much of a thing. Didn't really care that much because, keeper league, he's for next year.
Yeah,
I was totally okay him just being on the bench the entire year. Then the sixth round went Chase Claypool. That was a bust.
yeah.
I had two seventh round picks.
I got a question. Was
Mhm.
for him? Was that a bust because of him, or because of the emergence of Deontay Johnson, or because Big Ben's noodle arm? Did he deteriorate more than we thought he was going to deteriorate?
Uh Honestly, I think I'm gonna kind of, yeah, I'd say a little bit on Ben's arm, but also on Najee Harris, just soaking up a lot of targets.
That's true. That is true too.
I
Yes.
mean, Deontay was already doing that last year, so it wasn't that big of a surprise. But just the fact that it would go to those two guys, and if you had Claypool and you're watching, you're like, hey, look, he's open. Oh, look, he's open over here. But no,
Mm-hmm.
he's Big Ben's focusing somewhere else. I had two seventh round picks because of a draft. The first one went to Raheem Mostert, which got hurt very quickly.
Yeah.
Which we knew he was going to get injured, just not like week one or two. Because come on, bro, like we
We
just drafted you.
we did say that also when we were talking about running backs before the season, the preseason rankings. We talked about Mostert. That he's got all this great talent, but he's going to get hurt sooner or later,
Yeah,
and his was sooner.
we thought Trey Sermon was going to be replacing him. Nope.
Wow, we were wrong on that one.
But then I drafted Tom Brady in my other seventh round pick. And then I partnered him with Antonio Brown in the eighth round, which I thought was going to be so much better. But Brown
See,
got hurt, and then he got his suspension for being an asshole.
well, do you remember before the season when we were putting our rankings together for the quarterbacks? You were all on Tom Brady, and I was not. I was like, oh, he's got to fall apart sooner or later.
Yeah.
Something's going to happen, and then,
Verbatim, I actually listened back to it. You said that you would never
yeah,
draft Tom Brady because you're expecting the wheels to fall off.
yeah,
And then I said, I will always, and I will continue to draft Tom Brady until his wheels, no, until he retires. That's what I said.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, he's number 3 quarterback overall this year for fantasy. So, I was so off on that.
Actually, in 6-point passing touchdown leagues, Tom Brady was the number one quarterback.
Look at
He
you.
he beat out Josh Allen by like 45 points.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Which that was the league that we happened to be in. So
Yeah. Wow. I was so wrong on that.
and then
I so much
wasted,
wanted, seriously, I just so much wanted to be a Tom Brady hater
yeah.
because I'm so jealous of his life.
Yeah, I understand it. It makes sense.
And I'm like, there's no way this dude can keep going. Well, blow me down. I was wrong.
He's doing something.
Yeah.
So I wasted a draft pick on Tyler Higbee in the 8th round. But then I also got Deebo Samuel in the 9th. And I told you I was not all about him. I just saw his value and I'm like, he's a big name. Maybe I'm wrong. I'll just pick him up. And it actually worked out.
Yeah.
And then some not so great picks with Devontae Smith, Laviska Shenault, Justin Fields, Giovanni Bernard. I did draft Stevenson in the 14th round, though.
Yeah. I mean, but then again, you were king of the trades and pickups and everything else in this league.
Yeah, I traded. Yeah, I traded the most in the league. I think I made the most transactions as well. But yeah, I turned into the running back hoarder.
Yes, you did.
But I never had an issue at that position. Besides having too many guys to start.
See, and that's where I think we both have our own little niche or specialty. That's why I was more confident. If you notice the teams I did, I was selecting 3, 4 running backs in the first 4, 5, 6 rounds because I was more confident in how I would select wide receivers. I always feel like I can get a better wide receiver than what other people don't see in the middle rounds.
Mm-hmm.
Where you are definitely you do better selection of running backs
Until they get hurt, yeah. Yeah, I had Christian McCaffrey and Mostert, and I was going to keep J.K. Dobbins, and they all missed pretty much the entire year.
Yeah.
So the ones that stay healthy, oh man, do I nail those?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So you got a list there of playoff MVPs, basically, right? You have a list there of who performed during the playoffs.
Yeah.
And again, you have to get to the playoffs, but then it's so weird seeing we talked about it is all of a sudden you have to do things for the playoffs that you never would have thought you would have been doing at the beginning of the season, playing players that you never even thought about drafting in the beginning of the season. All of a sudden you're picking them up at the end of the season and having to play them in your playoffs. It happens every year. And this year was just so off the rails with it because of COVID being a factor also. You had all these players missing time right when it came time for the playoffs, and you got to pick up somebody. And again, it's picking up the right people in the right system because systems don't change. Players may change, but systems don't change.
So as far as quarterback MVPs for the playoffs, this is weeks 15, 16, and 17. The typical names are there, like Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Dak Prescott, Aaron Rodgers, Justin Herbert, Kyler Murray, Jalen Hurts. He was like the number 1 QB for quite a while. He was number 8 overall. You have Russell Wilson at number 9, Mac Jones at number 10. But the biggest one, number 1, the MVP of MVPs,
Who I ran into
was Joe Burrow. Just unbelievable.
We go on to other sites, right? When we do our rankings the way we feel, and then we kind of look at other sites to see where other people have these players ranked at. I think you and I were the only ones that had Burrow in the top 12. We had him at number 12.
Sure, just because, he had all this crazy talent around him. But to think in the last 2 games of our fantasy playoffs,
good God,
he's going to have, so in week 15, 525 passing yards, 4 touchdowns. That's
sick.
You're laughing because who gets 500 passing yards?
But
Like
but then
to get over 300 is amazing, right?
yeah.
400 is unheard of. 500?
Yeah. But then look at the following week, the championship night, the championship game.
So then he gets 446 passing yards and another 4 touchdowns. So like, yeah, why not? 4 touchdowns ain't no thing.
Oh my god.
And
Dude.
it wasn't just all to Chase either.
No. I mean, well, quite a few of it was.
A lot of it had to do with Chase, yeah. But Chase is only like half his yardage.
I'm telling you, where now next year are you going to rank these two? Listen, you're going to have to select Chase in the first round probably next year. If you're in a keeper, he's being kept. You're not going to get him. But if you're in a league and you're redrafting every year, you're going to it's going to take a first round or an early second round pick to get Chase.
Yeah. The only thing is that with Joe Burrow, I mean, he got a little lucky. Okay, even if you heard him talk, I think it was in week 16. He was like, I really couldn't see anything. I just knew that Chase was up there, and I thought, what the heck? And that was one of his touchdown passes.
Hey,
so I don't think that's talent at all. That's just, for Chase, that is talent. For Burrow, that was just kind of luck. He's just like, I'm just going to throw it up there and hope that my guy's going to get it.
You got to put it in the vicinity at least.
Sure.
In the right zip code.
But it's not like he was like, oh, this is going to be the perfect window for him so that only my guy is going to get the ball. It's just more of, I can't really tell what's going on over there, but I do know that Chase is in that pile.
Yeah. But seriously, what great young talent there is in Cincinnati. Even look at T. Higgins.
Yeah. This season, this team looking to next season is looking really, really solid.
Think about this. Tyler Boyd as a number 3 wide receiver. Is there a number 3 wide receiver anything like him anywhere else in the league?
Michael Gallup. Chris Godwin / Mike Evans / Antonio Brown. Whoever the number 3 guy is, depends on the team.
I guess. I'm just yeah, I guess so.
Odell Beckham Jr. / Van Jefferson.
Next year, maybe, because you think Robert Woods is going to come back as a number 2?
I think he'll come back just fine.
Okay.
He was a possession receiver. It's not like he, like any kind of injury that's going to happen to him, it's not really going to affect his game. He's the short passing guy.
It's going to be fun. I can't wait to get the season to get over with and get into the homework and start evaluating again and setting some things straight from this year.
Okay, you ready for the frustration part?
Oh, yeah. I know where it's coming from already.
Here's the frustration part. Here is your full PPR fantasy football playoffs MVPs at the running back position. Number 1 is Devin Singletary.
Oh my God.
Which I had a friend that tagged me on Facebook of who to start and sit. And everyone in his group was going with this one guy. And I was the only one that said Devin Singletary. He's like, you seem very confident in that decision. And I, explained why. And then the game ended and he had 110 yards and 2 touchdowns?
Yeah.
And now he's the number 1. That's so weird to see that. And we were definitely against both running backs in the beginning of the season.
This, what we've seen at the end of the season with Singletary, is that going to change your mind for next year? Like maybe we'll look at him next year.
I think it's going to change my draft strategy and not go so gung-ho on running backs. Just because, we saw these guys just getting injured left and right, getting COVID left and right. Some guys not returning right away after getting COVID, like Allen Robinson, that it's okay to take guys that are in a committee or the number 2 guy because injuries do and will happen.
Yeah, it's remember that
here, just listen to the list of the top 10 guys. Okay, Devin Singletary. He was in the committee in the beginning of the season. Number 2, Rashad Penny. I think he started the season on the IR.
Yeah.
David Montgomery's number 3. Justin Jackson, a backup running back, number 4. Then Joe Mixon at number 5. Number 6 is Sony Michel, who
A backup.
To the backup, because remember Cam Akers
Was a starter.
supposed to be the starting running back on that team.
Yep.
Number 7, Jonathan Taylor, who's the number 1 running back overall. And then 8, Najee Harris. 9, Nick Chubb. And then 10, Rex Burkhead.
Sexy Rexy.
Rex Burkhead was a top 10 running back in fantasy football playoffs.
Whoever would have thought, though, Rex Burkhead as a top 10 playoff running back.
Yeah, and on a horrible team.
Yeah. Go figure. And but then again, Cooks did very well for the playoffs for if you had him too. David Mills did not do a bad job for Houston at the end. He really did not.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's the number 2 rookie quarterback in the league behind Mac Jones.
Is he really?
Yeah.
Well, not many of them started. What about Heineke?
Yeah, I think Mills overall did better.
Oh, did better, yeah.
Yeah.
I was thinking stat-wise, probably with the Heineke.
Yeah, because he played more games.
Yeah. Okay, so wide receiver PPR. Fantasy football playoff MVPs. It's just, there's always like these guys that just surprise us. I mean, I know Mark named this guy like 5 weeks in a row and just wouldn't shut up about him. But I'm on Ross St. Brown, number 1 wide receiver in the fantasy football playoffs.
And he was still available when it came to the championship game.
He's probably still available right now.
I mean, I don't know if it was just why people didn't jump on him because, I mean, look at the situation he had in Detroit. Best case scenario was Jared Goff. Worst case scenario was Boyle, and it didn't matter. He just performed.
He started performing once Swift went down.
Mm-hmm.
So that's something that we should definitely be like taking a look at. Swift was definitely racking up a lot of targets, and then once he went down, it didn't go to his replacement running back. It went to the wide receivers.
But
and the
but wasn't Swift back the last week?
He played in the last week, but like half-assed. He was still.
Okay.
It looked like he was still injured.
Okay.
So number 2, Devontae Adams. Number 3, Cooper Kupp. Number 4, Jamar Chase. Number 5, Deebo Samuel. And number 6, T. Higgins. So, yeah, you could have played both of those wide receivers in the playoffs, which we don't normally suggest, just because if they didn't play well, they would have both bombed and could have killed your team. But in this one instance, like, it would have got you a win.
Can you imagine this? Can you imagine if your team had Burrow as a quarterback, Mixon as a running back, T. Higgins in your flex, and Jamar Chase in your wide receiver?
And Tyler Boyd was the number 8 overall in the playoffs.
You could
so
just
you could
play
add
that
all
team.
3 of the players. Yeah. 3 wide receivers, a running back, and a quarterback, and you would have been very dominant.
Crazy.
And DK Metcalf had a nice little run at the end. He was the number 7 overall. Number 9, it was Braxton Berrios for the Jets. And then Christian Kirk was the number 10.
That one surprises me.
It does, because it seemed like nobody out there was really like stepping up.
Yeah.
The ball was just kind of like spread out to everybody.
Yeah, that one surprised me. I didn't feel that. I mean, obviously I saw it, but I didn't feel it.
Let's take a look at tight ends.
Oh, what a mess that is.
If you had Mark Andrews, he was by far the MVP on tight ends.
Mm-hmm.
For the playoffs. Just talking playoffs.
Right.
Number 2 was Kelsey. So those names are no big surprise. Number 3 was Dalton Schultz. Number 4 was Dallas Goedert. Number 5, Noah Fant. Noah, like, he really didn't do anything all year. And then it just seemed like it was that last game he actually finally
Yeah.
stepped it up. Tied with Noah at number 5 is Zach Ertz. And then Kyle Pitts at number 7. Hunter Henry at number 8. Gerald Everett at number 9. And Cole Clement at 10.
9 and 10 are surprising for sure.
It's nice to see Cole Clement actually getting there. He should be better next season.
Yeah.
Next season will be his
third year.
I think his third or fourth year. And like, you're seeing more and more of them, and that will be a trend.
And whatever new coach comes in, there's going to be an offensive-minded coach that's going to see it even more so.
I just read an article, and they're saying, one of the main issues with Matt Nagy is that he is complaining that, his defense can't get to the quarterback and how the defense is very inconsistent and everything. But we didn't hire him for his defense. We hired him to fix the offense and to guide our rookie quarterback into the future. And he's doing neither of those. And that's why he's going to get fired.
Mm-hmm. Might be a nice guy, but he's a total idiot.
He could be a nice. He seems like a cool guy, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like, he's a guy that you wouldn't mind sitting next to at a bar and having a beer with. But
I don't want to coach. I don't want him coaching my football team.
not as the head coach.
Right. So there's our rundown of MVPs for the playoffs. I hope that these guys, you had some of them on your team. I hope you had listened in to us, and some of these were selections that we said, hey, pick up. And we hope you won the championship. And we look forward to next year helping more of you to do, to get there.
Yeah, we'll be doing these episodes once a week. We really, really love keeper leagues because of, it just adds extra strategy into a regular fantasy league.
It's kind of like having the pitcher hit and not having a DH. That little bit extra strategy that has to be involved with it.
Yeah, because you have to think about it during the draft, because you're like, ooh, is this a guy that's going to be, his value this year will be amazing next season.
Yeah.
So if there's like an injury or a guy's a backup, but you're not projecting him to be a backup next year, and his value is like way low, like, you take him now, hoping that next year his value just skyrockets.
I hope that's Javonte.
Yeah, like Javonte. Exactly. Like, if Javonte was not in a split backfield with Melvin Gordon, he would have been a third or fourth round pick.
And hopefully that something will happen with that in the offseason, I hope.
Yes, hopefully they get rid of Melvin Gordon. I'm sure there's some teams that could take him.
Yeah.
All right, that is all we have for you on this episode. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll talk to you next time.
See ya.